Yep. Inside, I want to kill myself. We are on an 0-7 run over the last 2 days. After tonight, it was just complete bullshit. So that's how I'm going to start off this show. Horrible Sunday, 1-5. I don't even know what to tell you about that. I just don't want to do this anymore. I have never seen anything like this, man. With the slump continuing, 2 straight losses, not a good day at all. 0-4. I just have not had a good season, man. What kind of slump that I'm on? The slump continues. I've reached a new peak, actually. I'm gonna burn my Bruins hat, man. I don't know what is going on with the Bruins. March 8th, is that what it is? I don't even know. It's March 9th, I think. Who even knows, man? I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't even know what day it is anymore, man. Back with you after the worst day that I could possibly have. Back with you, as I always am. Until I die, at least. 0-2 yesterday, and yesterday did not go well for me. 0-5. The worst month that I've ever had in my 18 years doing this. I don't know what to even tell you about this anymore. Broke the slump yesterday as the slump continues. The slump continues. Somebody fucking kill me, please. I don't even know what I should do at this point other than potentially end it all. What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you. This is Toadstool Sports. College football week 14 edition. I will rant about today's losing day tomorrow because I'm just sick of it. I'm tired of everything. I don't want to do it. Don't want to do any of this anymore. We went 2-1 in college football today, so that's fine. I mean, it was NHL was really the problem today. I'm not happy about it at all. We'll talk about the rest of the college football slate here for tomorrow. I feel like I'm being too selective here by giving out only 2 plays and then watch them both lose or whatever. It's going to be awesome when that happens, obviously. I don't have much else to say. We can get into it, I guess. I don't even have the banners in yet, but I guess I will put them in now while I'm doing this. I was going to update the image on this thing too, but hang on. What are my plays tomorrow? I don't even remember, man. No, I do remember. I don't like either of them. They both suck. All right. They're both going to be losers, obviously. All right, I'll update the image later. Let's get into this. Usually I have the scoreboard up. All right, and we do have games that I think are still going on right now. Yeah, Arizona, looks like I was correct about that, going against the market in that one. So, yeah, my gauge was correct, and I did get Texas correct and did not get Ole Miss / Mississippi State correct. So there we go. All right, noon, we have a big game, maybe the biggest game on Fox. Number 1, Ohio State. Number 15, Michigan. This is at Michigan, I believe, at the Big House. A lot of things going on in this game, man. Ohio State, they're in a win and in scenario, so I don't love that. Or it's not even that. It's if they win or Indiana loses, although actually Indiana already won today, so now it is a win and in scenario for Ohio State because Indiana won by a ton, which was expected anyway. So yes, it is. If Ohio State wins this game, they're in the Big Ten title game. I believe if they lose, there are scenarios where they will not get in. I think Michigan actually doesn't control their own destiny, so I actually do kind of like that. I like teams that don't control their own destiny, man. I think Michigan, if they win, I do think they actually need help to get into the championship game, even though they would, I think, have the tiebreaker over Ohio State, but I guess they need other one-loss teams to lose at the same time, something like that, or there's something about that scenario. But as I mentioned with Texas A&M today, teams that control their own destiny, I don't like it because it's like the pressure just builds up and it's just there's too much weight on that. If we win, we're in, and usually that team is overvalued. So I think that will be the case with Ohio State here. I do kind of lean to Michigan in this one. Ohio State is a 10-point favorite. They're public, 73% of tickets, 81% of the cash on them. I mean, the number I don't know if it necessarily looks too high or anything like that. I mean, I almost think it looks too easy to lay it with Ohio State because they're undefeated and they are probably legitimately the top team in the country. The total is low, though. It's down to 43.5. Money coming in on the under, expected to be a playoff-style atmosphere here, as it seems to usually be. I think last year's game was way low scoring, so I wouldn't really disagree with the under in the game, although you've lost a little bit of value on that. But also that does mean that taking the points, each point is going to be worth more, so it makes sense to take the points in a way because of that. My hesitation with Michigan, though, would be that Ohio State, they know what happened last year, man. It's like, it's been the thing. Oh, my God, Ohio State can't beat Michigan. I don't even remember when the last time they beat Michigan was, but we know Michigan pulled off the upset last year at Ohio State, so I do think Ohio State will remember that because these teams do not like each other. So there is the potential that Ohio State shows up for that reason. And maybe Ohio State actually kind of puts more weight into this than even the Big Ten championship game. Because, I mean, they know they're going to be in the playoff at this point. So, yeah, I mean, they might actually weigh this game fairly heavily. So I have a very, very timid lean, I guess, or tepid lean, whatever, on Michigan getting the points. We have number 5, Texas Tech at West Virginia, also at noon on ESPN. West Virginia cannot become bowl eligible. So this is their final hurrah. It is their senior day. So I do expect them to show up for that reason. Texas Tech, they can make the Big 12 title game. I believe they're in a win and in scenario. I think if they win, then they're in. So they're in a spot that I don't like as well. Again, they control their own destiny. If they win, they will be in the Big 12 title game. I don't really think they're going to lose to West Virginia, though, but it is a matter of will they cover. And I'm not so sure about that. Texas Tech actually is coming out of a bye. So both of these teams actually had a bye. I think these might be like some of the only teams that actually had a bye this past week, this late into the season. Texas Tech, of course, went into the bye on a really good note, winning 4 games in a row. So I don't think that bye is helpful because I think that bye can be a momentum stopper when you go into it on a good note, whereas West Virginia also had a bye, and they went into the bye on a bad note, losing at Arizona State, although they actually played pretty well and covered as an underdog. So, I don't know. Do we really say that was a bad note? I mean, yeah, they did lose the game. So, I would say, yeah, I guess so. I think West Virginia should be using that bye a little bit more effectively. Overall, yeah, I would lean to taking the points here. I don't want to make it a play or anything like that, but I would probably take the points with West Virginia. The money seems to disagree with Texas Tech up from 20.5 to 23. 66% of tickets, 86% of the cash on them. A lot of money seemingly laying it on Texas Tech, and I don't really know why. I don't know if is there like a West Virginia quarterback injury or something? I don't know what's going on. Even if there was, I don't know how much it would necessarily matter. It doesn't seem like that's the case, so I have no idea. But that's probably the way that I would look at that game. Pinsy, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. I'm hoping that this show is not going to take that long, but we know it always does. All for 2 additional plays. We had 3 today. I think I'm only going to have 2 tomorrow, though, unless I decide last minute to do something, but I think I'm not going to. Another big game on ABC at noon. Number 12, Miami. Number 22, Pitt. This game is at Pitt. But, I mean, I have been talking about how I think Pitt is an overrated team. I don't think they're that good, which is part of the reason why Miami is obviously the favorite here in this one. Now, both of these teams do not control their own destiny, though. So both of these teams need to win, but also need help to get into the ACC championship game. Miami does kind of have an outside chance of making the playoff as well, so they do have that in front of them as well. So that might mean Miami needs like style points in this game, so maybe there is more motivation on the Miami side. Pitt also is coming off a huge win over Georgia Tech, man. I mean, that was huge. Yes, they still need to win this game at home. Yes, it is senior day for them, so I don't really want to come in and fade them here. And it's also going to be Miami playing in like freezing temperatures, which I don't love. Although they did win at Virginia Tech last week. I don't know what the temperature was in this game. I assume it was probably cold, although we don't even see it here. Thanks, ESPN, for not even telling me what the weather info was. It's probably going to be colder in Pittsburgh, though, but Miami did get the job done, although they were expected to as a favorite. All that being said, I mean, Pitt coming off the bigger win. Pitt being, I think, pretty overrated. Like, I don't really know if they're going to be able to slow down this Miami offense enough. And Pitt does not defend the pass very well, and Miami does a lot of that. I would probably lay the points with Miami, although right now it looks like the money is kind of disagreeing with it. 53% of the tickets, 52% of the cash on them, and the total is pretty low at 49.5. The number has gone up a little bit, though. It looks like it's headed towards 7. I mean, if you like Miami, I would try to find the 6.5 out there, obviously, because 7 is that key number. But, yeah, I mean, I have a slight lean towards laying it with Miami, just based on what the teams did last week, and Miami needing style points. So, I mean, I do think both teams are going to show up, though. So, I don't want to do anything with that game. Dirty Sock, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. All right. Going through all the ranked matchups first here. ESPN2 at 1 p.m., a weird time. We have UCF at BYU. UCF does need one more win to become bowl eligible, which is probably not going to happen, but there is going to be pressure on BYU because I do think they're in a win and in scenario here. I believe if they win, they will be in the Big 12 title game, and they do have the potential to make the playoff as well, so they do kind of need to win for that reason too. But the win and in scenario, you know me, I don't love that scenario. So I do think it escalates the pressure on that team. So I don't really love it for BYU. BYU is coming off a decent win on the road at Cincinnati. I mean, UCF had a much easier time of it and kind of didn't look good in their win last week against Oklahoma State, barely winning as 12.5-point favorites. So I think you could say that's kind of an escape for UCF there. Or was that 2 weeks ago even? Let me see. No, it was last week. I don't know. For some reason, I was thinking Oklahoma State played Kansas State, but maybe that was 2 weeks ago. But yeah, UCF, I mean, they had to win that game right at the wire there, I think. So that's not a good performance. So I do think what that means is UCF is going to be kind of shocked back into focus after that. So I do expect a more focused effort from them here. How will they tolerate having to go to high elevation? I don't really know. But you're getting 17.5 points if you like Central Florida. 47.5 is the total. Like, BYU is kind of a physical team at this point, which is kind of weird to see that being the case, but it is. In Central Florida, they do have the ability to cover as an underdog because they run the football a lot. So they should be able to do that. It is a low total. So again, taking the 17 does kind of make sense to me in this one for all those reasons. 91% of tickets, 94% of the cash on BYU. They look very, very public. So, yeah, I mean, my lean in that game would be to taking the points with UCF there. And, again, I like that they looked horrible last week, but I do worry about them having to go into elevation here. I don't believe they played Utah this year, so they have not really done that this season. And I still don't love fading teams on senior night either. I mean, there are certain situations where I'll do it, but I don't want to do it there. Number 6, Oregon is at Washington on CBS. Oregon is in a scenario where they can make the Big 12 title game, I think, still, but I think they need to win and they need help. I think they need Michigan to beat Ohio State, and I don't know, they might need more than that, too. I'm not sure. And, of course, they need to win. They are coming off a big win last week, though, as well, against USC. Now they're going on the road to Washington, and this is an old Pac-12 rivalry. Remember, Washington has done well a lot of times in this rivalry in the past. They did win twice against Oregon 2 years ago. I think Oregon beat them last year, though, if I'm not mistaken. So that might mean there's maybe a little bit of a revenge motive for Washington here. Yeah, Washington lost 49-21 at Oregon last year. And in this game with number 6 ranked Oregon only laying a touchdown here, it almost looks too easy to lay the points with Oregon, and the number's gone up. So if you do like Washington, which that is the way that I lean here, you are getting a little bit more value on it. 81% of the tickets, 74% of the cash on Oregon. Yeah, I mean, my opinion is to take the points with Washington in this game. Don't really have much of a feel otherwise. They are coming off an easy win last week. They went to UCLA and beat them pretty easily. So, yeah, not a play for me, though. ABC at 3:30 has LSU and Oklahoma. Of course, Oregon is still also playing to make the playoff. But, I mean, even if they lose this game, I think they're still in position to make the playoff, which is, I guess, another reason to maybe fade them. because we have a lot of things going on. You have to gauge like playoff scenarios. You have to gauge conference championship scenarios. I mean, it makes this all really difficult. So I wind up being very, very selective this week because there are just a lot of hesitations that I have. LSU at Oklahoma. Oklahoma's ranked 8th in the country. This game, I think it's going to be a battle of defenses. I mean, these defenses have been good. LSU's offense has been a big disappointment this year. They've been a disappointment this year, but maybe they will show up for this because LSU, I mean, they had championship aspirations. They're already in a bowl. They're bowl eligible, but I just don't know that LSU is going to care that much about whatever bowl they're in. So they might put more weight into this. Like, hey, we can at least play against Oklahoma and maybe spoil Oklahoma's season here because I think Oklahoma does have I don't know if they have a chance to make the title game at this point or not for the SEC. But they're still playing for the playoff scenario because they're a 2-loss team, so they definitely cannot take a third loss. But I think that does mean that the pressure is going to be on them. It is senior night. They're coming off a pretty unimpressive performance against Missouri, but you want to talk about unimpressive. LSU, really unimpressive last week, beating Western Kentucky 13-10. Although the only touchdown the Western Kentucky scored was a fumble 6 near the end of the game. So the game was kind of over at that point. It was 13-3 LSU, but that was still a very bad performance. They've been bad for a couple of weeks, so maybe they will want to redeem themselves from that and play a little bit better here. It's a very low total, down to 36.5. Now, I don't really disagree with an under, although you've lost a little bit of value on that number. It is really, really low, but I don't think the public is really going to want to do anything as far as playing an under in this one. But you've had offenses that have struggled. You've had defenses that look good here from both sides. Mateer hasn't looked good for Oklahoma since his injury, so I don't disagree with the under, but also taking 10.5 with LSU with this low of a total does look like the right move on the side. 88% of the tickets, only 82% of the cash on Oklahoma. Yeah, I would lean to taking the points. It's just a matter of how much does LSU really care about this game, which is what you really have to gauge. Like, it's not a huge rivalry or anything like that. So if you want LSU, you got to make sure they're going to have motivation here, and I'm a little bit worried about that. Although that is the way that I would lean in the game. ESPN at 3:30 p.m. We have the big Tennessee rivalry here between Vandy and Tennessee. I mean, this is a rivalry game where I do think both teams will show up here. Vandy's ranked 14th. Tennessee's ranked 19th. I think Vandy might have a little bit more to play for here because even though I don't really think they can make the SEC championship game, I think they're too far behind and they've lost the tiebreaker to too many of the other 2-loss teams here. They still haven't beat Tennessee, I think, in a long time. So I think that's still a reason why they're going to show up here. And they could still make the playoff, I think. Like, as a 2-loss SEC team, I think they still have a shot at that, depending on what they do. So I think they're going to be a little bit more motivated here because looking at a 3-loss Tennessee team that is out of it, although Tennessee will be their senior day, I think they might play with a chip on their shoulder because now Vandy is ranked ahead of them, so that might piss Tennessee off a little bit. Tennessee coming off a win over Florida last week. I mean, nothing to really see there, although I think they usually struggle at Florida, but whatever. And then Vandy had no real issue with Kentucky last week, which I thought Kentucky would show up in that game, and they did not. I would slightly lean to taking the points with Vandy here. 55% of tickets, 57% of the cash on Tennessee. Looks like you can still get 3 with Vandy if you do like that. I don't know if that cash percentage is going to stay that way or not. I also like the over in this game. The total is way high, up to 67, but again, it's high for a reason. You got two pretty prolific offenses here, and neither team is very good defensively, so I think the over does make sense in that game as well. It's actually probably better than the side, in my opinion, although I don't really do much with totals, but that would be the way that I would lean. ESPN at 7 p.m., the Battle of the Virginias. I am very tempted to give out Virginia Tech as a play here, but we've lost some of the line value on this one because the line was at 10 at one point, or 10.5, and now it's down to 8.5. We still see a lot of the money coming in on the Virginia Tech side. The total is a little high at 53.5, but 53% of tickets on Virginia, 78% of the cash on Virginia Tech. I like Virginia Tech in this one plus the points. This is going to be their last game of the season. They're not going to a bowl. It's a huge rivalry game, so I think they're going to show up for this one. And as far as Virginia is concerned, they control their own destiny as far as getting into the ACC championship, which that is their path to the title game, by the way. Like a lot of these teams that can't make the playoff any other way, they can do it by winning their conference championship. So Virginia can do that, even though if they don't win the ACC, they're probably not going to make the playoff. But that is their path right now. But their path is, again, it's one of the really simple ones. If they win, they're going to be in the title game. So, I don't like that for Virginia. Virginia also is coming out of a bye, and they went into the bye on a good note, beating Duke, who was one of their competitors to get into the ACC championship. I think Duke still technically can get into it, but that was a huge win for Virginia. And then they went into the bye. After that, I don't like that. When you go into the bye on a good note like that, I think you can come out a little bit flat, man. I know this is at home. This is their senior day, but Virginia Tech, they might go all out here, man, because it is their final game. Again, it is a huge rivalry. They did play last week, but they lost in their senior day to Miami. And the other reason why I think Virginia Tech might show up here is because they know who their coach is going to be next year. It is going to be James Franklin, and he is going to be there at this game. So Virginia Tech, their players that are going to stay, they're going to be motivated to want to look good for James Franklin, who's going to be in the house. They're going to want to look good for him for next year. So I like Virginia Tech in this one. This one is really close to making my card, man. Let's just put it that way. I don't think I'm going to quite do it for the reasons that I just said, but I do like it. I would take the points with Virginia Tech for sure. It also looks way too easy to lay single digits with a 9-2 ranked 18th in the country Virginia team against a 3-8 Virginia Tech team. But we know Virginia Tech, they started off ugly. They fired their coach. It gave them a little bit of a spark, and they've been pretty competitive since then for the most part. So I don't mind that for Virginia Tech either. I think Virginia is a bit overrated as well. What has Virginia really done? They had that huge win, which was a win for us on the show against Florida State. And then since then, what have they done? Nothing. They beat Duke. That's a decent win. Winning at Louisville was a good win, but that was a loss on the show. Louisville probably should have won that game. In Virginia, I thought they were in a major letdown spot. Pretty shocking that they won that game outright. But there were some, I think, statistical anomalies in that one. So, yeah, I don't love Virginia, and they haven't really been showing an ability to win by margin that consistently either, so I don't love that either. So, yeah, I like Virginia Tech in that one, plus the points. Alabama Auburn is going to be one of my plays, so we'll hold off on that for now. 7:30 p.m. NBC, we have UCLA and USC, who's ranked 17th in the country. USC, I think there's still an outside chance that maybe they can make the playoff. I don't believe that they can make the Big Ten title game anymore. I'm pretty sure they're eliminated from that. And they are coming off a game against Oregon where they took the loss. But this is their senior day, and this is a rivalry game. So will USC show up here? I don't know. Obviously they're already bowl eligible. I don't know if they feel that they could still make the playoff. It's kind of unlikely because they can't win the Big Ten, and they're a 3-loss team. So it seems like, I don't know, man. It seems like those dreams are kind of over. So I don't really know if USC is going to have a whole lot left here. For UCLA, they're coming off a blowout loss in their senior night, and they might be pissed about that. Just go on the road, maybe play better here in their rivalry game here. I like UCLA in this one plus the points. That's the way I would play it. You're getting 21.5 now on it. High total, though, of 59, but again, you're getting a lot of points. 63% of tickets, 58% of the cash in USC, so the money seemingly agreeing with UCLA there. That's what I would do. I would take the points. USC, I just don't know what their motivation is necessarily going to be here, man. And for UCLA, they're not going to play again after this because they're not bowl eligible, so this is their last game of the season, man. A lot of times you'll see that team put in a huge effort, especially in a rivalry game like that where they consider themselves to basically be the little brother here. So, yeah, that's the way that I would lean in that one, man. Again, I just don't know. USC, a questionably motivated team laying all those points. I don't love that. On ESPNU at 7:30, Charlotte, who's just been a total train wreck this year at Tulane. But, of course, Tulane's going to be a gigantic favorite here. For Tulane, they can make the American Championship game, man, and they can also they have a chance to make the playoff as well. I actually think Tulane. Whoops, I wanted to look at scores. I think Tulane is the team that's projected to get into the playoff right now as that last seed. So they do have a lot on the line here, and they might need style points. So that is maybe a reason to not want to fade Tulane here. I mean, Charlotte, again, yeah, they have nothing to play for. This will be their last game. They've absolutely sucked, though. It is Tulane's senior night. Tulane is very public, though, 92% of tickets and cash. I wouldn't want to lay 30 points with them. I mean, really, I would hesitate to do that in most cases in football. I know I do it a little bit in basketball, but I don't want to take the points with Charlotte here. I mean, again, Tulane, if they think they need style points, they might actually try to run up the score in that one. So I would worry a little bit about trying to fade them there. ESPN2 at 8 p.m. We have SMU ranked 21st in the country going to Cal. SMU, they control their own destiny, I'm pretty sure. If they win this game, I believe they will be in the ACC championship. I don't know why they're below Pitt here in the tiebreaker or whatever, but I believe that is the case. You can correct me if I'm wrong about that. It's also going to be the first time they're having to travel to the Pacific Coast. So I don't know if we like that either, man. The last time SMU left... or the last time SMU played on the road, well, SMU's in the Central Time Zone. I was going to say the last time they played in the Central Time Zone, but they haven't been good in the Central Time Zone on the road. Let's just put it that way. Losing outright to TCU and not covering against Missouri State, and that was a win for us on the show there. So for whatever reason, SMU, they haven't done well on the road in the Central Time Zone. They haven't done well on the road generally, actually. They lost to Wake on the road as well. So all of SMU's losses have come on the road. Now they're going to the Pacific Coast for the first time this year, and they're playing a late-night game, which might mess with their biological clock a little bit. Cal, I mean, I expect them to show up because it is senior day for them, senior night, so I do think they'll show up. They're coming off an ugly loss, although that was in their big rivalry against Stanford, so I don't know. Maybe I would worry a little bit about Cal being hungover after that coming into this game, but I think that was kind of the hangover spot because Cal had beaten Louisville the week before that, and then they had to travel back to the Pacific Coast after that, and the Louisville game made Cal bowl eligible as well, so there was kind of a letdown component there against Stanford as well, which, as you remember, I did say that I leaned to Stanford in that game, although didn't give it out as a play, and it was an easy winner. I think Saab might have had that one, and I agreed with it. But now Cal is on the Pacific Coast now because they came back home. They played at Stanford, so their travel is a lot less from last week to this week now. So that is not bad for them. And you're going to be asking SMU to lay a lot of points here. So I would take the points with Cal if I was going to play this. SMU's a 13.5-point favorite, 77% of tickets, 66% of the cash on them. Yeah, so they're public with less of the money on them. I think taking the points does make sense in that one. But not my strongest. And then we do have on ESPN at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. You want to talk about a late night game. Notre Dame is having to go play really, really late night at Stanford. I do worry about that. Again, Notre Dame, Pacific Coast. I was going to say I thought they did it this year, but they didn't. They played USC at home this year. So Notre Dame has not gone to the Pacific Coast this year, so that might be a little bit dangerous for them. And they're coming off a 70-7 win against Syracuse, which is really just unbelievable. So they do need style points because Notre Dame is not in a conference. So they got to win and win big to make sure they get into the playoff, which at this point I think they definitely will. But, they can't lose to Stanford, though. They got to at least win this game. But will they be motivated to win this by a giant margin and cover this huge number? I'm not so sure about that. And, winning 70-7, you're going to be really, really, I think, overvalued coming into this final week for Stanford. This is their last game. This is senior night. They might want to go out with a nice win, although they are coming off a big win in their rivalry against Cal. So I don't know if they'll be in a letdown here, though, because this is also a rivalry game. And, again, it is their final game. It's senior day. It's Notre Dame coming in. So they might want to come in and try to avoid embarrassment here and actually play okay. You're asking Notre Dame to cover a 32.5 point spread here. I don't know what this 6.5 was. That's obviously wrong. 32.5 being the number that was just crazy, crazy high for Notre Dame on the road. I mean, that's insane. I know Notre Dame is like legitimately a top 5 team though, and Stanford is pretty ass, but 32 is a ridiculously high number. And I think the fact that Notre Dame kind of needs style points is built into that number, and I think it's also skewed because of what we saw last week out of Notre Dame. I would probably take the points with Stanford if I was going to do this. Plus, the total is crazy low. For a 32.5 point spread, I mean, the total is 49.5. So it's like if Stanford scores like 10 points in this game, they'll probably cover. Although I know Notre Dame has a really good defense. 82% of tickets, 90% of the cash on Notre Dame. Yeah, I would take the points. It seems like there's a lot of value in getting 32.5 points. Maybe the spread is, I mean, what is that? The spread is like well over 60% of the total. I mean, that's insane. Like, you almost never see that. So, yeah, I would take the points there in that one. Although that is not on my card. All right. Now, we can talk about the rest of these games here. And I do have 2 plays. I mean, I don't know if I'm considering giving out another one here. I like Virginia Tech a lot. That one is close. We got Kentucky and Louisville in this Kentucky rivalry here. Louisville, they're going to a bowl, but they've looked like a dead team, man. Like, basically, I liked SMU last week because SMU still had something to play for, like trying to make the ACC title game, whereas Louisville, they were pretty much dead after they lost to Clemson, and they looked dead last week. But now they are back home, and they did get embarrassed last week. So is Louisville going to still be that dead team here, or are they actually going to show up here to not get embarrassed on senior night? And it is a rivalry game here. I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of thinking they might show up, but Kentucky, they need one more win to become bowl eligible, man, and they had an ugly performance last week, and I expect them to show up against Louisville. So, and Kentucky does play pretty good defense, and you're going to be getting some points with them. So I probably do lean to the Kentucky side. Louisville's down from 4.5 to 2.5, but I think some of that has to do with the quarterback situation with Louisville, and that is another question that I haven't gotten an answer to, so I don't really want to get involved here, but 69% of tickets, 72% of the cash on Kentucky. The total dropped a little bit to 46.5, so taking the points worth a little bit more here. Again, I think Kentucky, the motivation to try to get to that 6th win, I think, is there. Kentucky was not in a bowl last year, so I think that is a pretty big motivator for Kentucky. They want to get back to a bowl, so I think that side does make sense. For Louisville, you got to see what's happening with Miller Moss, their quarterback, man, because he got hurt, and he did not play last week, and whoever their quarterback was last week didn't do well. It was Deuce Adams, and then it looks like they might have taken him out, maybe because it was a blowout, and they decided to try Brady Allen, which he was only in for a little while, though. I mean, they didn't really get much out of their passing attack at all in the game, just generally. So I don't know what you're going to get out of those guys this time. It looks like Deuce Adams does run the football a little bit as well, so he's got a little bit of a dual threat component. To me, because the line is at 2.5, it seems like it's going to be Adams again because, I mean, Louisville, they can't get into the ACC championship or anything like that now, so I don't think they really have any reason to play Miller Moss here except, well, I don't know, man, because it is senior day, and he is a senior, so I believe, so maybe that would be like the one thing where maybe they'll bring him back for that, but the number seems to indicate they're not doing it, so that is something to be aware of in this game. If he does come back, you'll probably get more line value taking the points with Kentucky, though. Yeah, he is a senior, so maybe it would be a spot where they would play him if he was healthy, but I don't know. I think, again, if he is going to play, I think the line would be closer to that 4 that we saw at the opener. We do have Clemson and South Carolina. These all still noontime games here. Big South Carolina rivalry. South Carolina got the win at Clemson last year, but is that going to be enough to motivate Clemson here, man? I'm not so sure because, yes, it is a revenge game because Clemson did lose this game last year, and I believe Clemson was already in the ACC championship game last year, so they kind of overlooked, I think, South Carolina last year a little bit, although it was a close game, and Clemson kind of blew it at the end. But for Clemson, they're bowl eligible again, but I just don't think they care, man. I mean, they had championship aspirations this year, and they're sitting at 6-5, and they're going to be headed to some really crappy bowl that You're probably going to want to fade Clemson, whatever bowl they're in, because they're probably not going to show up. But we'll talk about it when we get to bowl season, but then the issue becomes, like, when all these guys opt out, then the players that actually get to play are players that don't usually get to play, and they actually will be excited to play. So then you have to weigh that against, like, what the drop-off in skill is, you know what I mean? Because the backups, if they get to play, they will be motivated. So bowl season is very hard to handicap, man, whereas it used to be way more straightforward, where it was like, oh, Clemson's still going to play most of their guys, and they're just going to be a defeated team. But I don't know. But for Clemson in this game, I mean, they've still been playing with motivation, though, man. I mean, they've won 3 games in a row, including beating Florida State and Louisville, although you could argue they were just trying to get that 6th win for bowl eligibility, and they got that last week against a non-FBS team, Furman. Now they're going out on the road again. For South Carolina, this is their last game. They're not going to a bowl this year. They're not going bowling. And they beat us last week. I just thought they wouldn't have motivation in that game against Coastal, especially coming off how they lost that game to A&M, blowing a 30-3 lead. I can't believe South Carolina showed up and just annihilated Coastal like that, even though Coastal does suck. But still, that actually kind of shows you that South Carolina actually is still trying to play. And since this is senior day and it is going to be their final game, I kind of lean that way. Clemson, I mean, they will be going to a bowl at least. So this won't be the last time they play. The money is coming in on South Carolina. 51% of tickets, 76% of the cash on them. They're up to a 2.5-point favorite. If you do like them, I wouldn't really want to let that get to 3, though, because that is a key number. And in a game with a low total of 46.5, you could see this game might be a close game, man. So those points they may matter. And South Carolina has been pretty challenged offensively as well. Houston Baylor is actually going to be one of my plays, so I'm going to stay off of that for now. Colorado at Kansas State. Now for Kansas State, the way they lost last week was absolutely brutal, dude. They went into Utah and they went all out. Kansas State is 18.5-point underdogs in high elevation. Kansas State played their guts out, dude, and they were winning this game 47-35 with 7 minutes left in the game. Kansas State scored a touchdown, and they decided to go for 2 because that would have put them up 14, so it makes sense. The decision makes sense. And then what happened? The 2-point conversion was run back the other way for a 2-point conversion by Utah, which cut it to 10, and then that basically gave Utah all this momentum, and then they wound up scoring 2 more touchdowns and winning the game. Unbelievable loss for Kansas State there. They had that game in their grasp, and now they're coming off of that. They could be a pretty defeated team here, man. I mean, I don't know how they get back up off the mat after that, except, well, I mean, the answer how is that it is senior day for them, and they are still looking for a 6th win, but do they care about going to some crappy bowl? I don't know, man, because this team, I mean, Kansas State, they expected to be in the mix for the Big 12 title this year, and they're not even going to come close to that. So do they care about getting that 6th win and becoming bowl eligible? I mean, maybe to save themselves from embarrassment. Again, it is their final home game. They are a big favorite, though, so I don't really think they're going to lose the game, but I would probably take the points with Colorado here. That we got, I don't know what we're talking about here with Julian Lewis. I don't really know who that is. But Colorado, I mean, they've had a lost season. This is going to be their last game of the year. They got embarrassed in their senior day last week against Arizona State. So, I don't know. I kind of think they're going to show up here. But then we have, I don't know what's going on with all these coaching things that are already happening, man. Marshall Faulk, you remember him from the Rams and the Colts, I believe, the NFL running back. He was the running backs coach for Colorado, and I guess he is now taking a head coach job at Southern U. So he's going to be going out of FBS, but he's going to get to head coach. So I don't know. I don't know if that's really going to matter coming into this game, though. But again, I do think Kansas State's going to struggle to get back up off the mat after they went all out. They basically decided to make that game against Utah their, like, bowl game, dude. So I don't know. I don't think they'll lose outright, but I don't know if they're going to cover this. I would take the points with Colorado. 78% of tickets, 83% of the cash on Kansas State. They're a 17-point favorite, so you will get a lot of points with Colorado here. And Kansas State, I mean, I don't know. How often have they covered a number like that this season? I don't know. Their wins are by 3 against North Dakota. Really, really ugly. They're not even an FBS team. They beat UCF by 14, TCU by 13. The one blowout win was against Kansas, surprisingly, on the road at Kansas. That was the one blowout win, and then they barely beat Oklahoma State by 8. So Kansas State has not really shown the ability to cover these big numbers either. So that's probably what I would do there. I will talk about the games that have like the conference championship implications here. Whoops, I thought I just removed myself from the stream. Oops. No, I did not. All right. Toledo and Central Michigan. This is a really weird, interesting scenario here where in the MAC, Western Michigan is already in the MAC championship because they're a one-loss team in conference. So Western Michigan is already in the MAC championship. But oddly, I think Ohio and Toledo, I actually think are both better teams than Western Michigan. But Ohio is actually eliminated. Even though they're sitting at 6-2, they don't have the tiebreaker over Toledo or Central Michigan. So Toledo and Central Michigan are playing each other, and whichever team wins is going to be 6-2. And they would have the tiebreaker over Ohio. But they also, I believe, need Miami, Ohio to lose because I think Miami, Ohio actually has the tiebreaker maybe over both of them. It's an insane scenario in the MAC, dude. Ohio's sitting at second place right now, but they literally cannot make the title game. So, and they already played this week, I believe, right? They played today. Yeah, Ohio, they beat Buffalo today, and it didn't even matter. So, yeah, they got the win against Buffalo, but they still can't make the title game. And that's because Kent State won against Northern Illinois. I don't know why that was the reason why, but it was. It doesn't make any sense to me why Kent State winning today made the difference. And I'm still shocked that Kent State won 5 games this year because they are absolutely terrible. But all that aside, Toledo versus Central Michigan, both these teams are in a situation where they need to win this game, but they also need help, basically, in that I believe they both need Miami, Ohio to lose. I think that is the scenario here. So neither of these teams control their own destiny. So both teams are in a spot where I think they're both going to show up like pretty big time here. The game is at Central Michigan, so it is senior day for them. But, I mean, both teams have a lot of motivation anyway if their goal is to win the MAC, and I think it probably is. Central Michigan, yep, they're at home. Final home game, sure. They just beat Kent State in their last game, and they do have extra time off. But I don't know if that extra time off is going to be helpful. They played last Wednesday. Don't know if that's helpful, though, because they went into that extra rest on a good note, so sometimes that will hurt your momentum. For Toledo, they played last Saturday, but I think that's fine because they're just continuing their momentum. And the odds are going to look really, really bizarre in this game, man. I mean, both teams are 7-4. They're both 5-2 in the MAC. Yet the odds makers have put this line up with Toledo on the road. They're a double-digit favorite. I mean, that just looks insane. Like, how could you have a road team being a double-digit favorite when the records are the same? The odds makers are telling you that Toledo is the better team, and I've been saying that all year. They did have at least one like kind of bizarre loss as a road favorite, 2 actually, against Western Michigan and Bowling Green. And I actually think they were technically a favorite against Washington State, too, on the road. I think they were like a 1-point favorite. So Toledo's actually lost 3 times as a road favorite, although maybe that's bad because they're a road favorite here and they have not performed well as a road favorite. But if I was going to play this game, I would still lay it. Like, they're the better team over Central Michigan, man. And Central Michigan, they really struggle offensively, and Toledo has a much, much better offense. As far as the defense, I don't know. I don't even know if Toledo has a worse defense than Central Michigan. I just know their offense is way better. But lane points looks a little bit iffy with a total pretty low, 45.5, but the public is coming in on Central Michigan, man. Again, it looks like a very misleading line. It's up from 9.5 to now 11. So if you like Toledo, I mean, you missed out on the key number there because it got through 10, so that's not great. 79% of tickets, only 60% of the cash on Central Michigan, though. So public percentage looks like it's on Central Michigan there, less of the money on them. I think Toledo wins the game. I would probably lean towards Toledo covering as well, but for that to happen, you're going to need Central Michigan to really be held off the board quite a bit at home. So we will see if that actually happens. And then Miami, Ohio against Ball State. Miami, Ohio, I I believe they're in a situation where if they win, they're in, I think. I think if Miami, Ohio wins, I believe they have the tiebreaker over I know they have the tiebreaker over Ohio, but because Ohio's eliminated, I looked it up. But I believe they also have the tiebreaker against Toledo and Central Michigan, which is crazy. But that means Miami, Ohio basically controls their own destiny. Yes, they're at home, and it's senior day, and they're playing a really, really bad Ball State team. But the thing is, Miami, Ohio in a situation where they control their own destiny and they don't need style points either, and it's a low total of 41.5. Their offense is kind of questionable. I don't think I would want to lay the points, man. 17.5 is the number. 79% of tickets, only 73% of the cash on Miami, Ohio. I expect them to win the game, but I would take the points with Ball State if I was going to play it. And for Ball State, this will be their last game. They're not going to a bowl. Miami, Ohio already is bowl eligible. Toledo and Central Michigan both are as well. But still, those teams are all trying to get to the MAC title game. So we will see what happens. But again, team that controls their own destiny, laying extra points basically because of that. You know I don't like that. And then Delaware, I mean, they could become bowl eligible in their first season, and they just wrecked us last week, man. I was shocked that they were that bad against Wake. Last week, Wake 35 points in the first half, and that's a team that doesn't even score well. I don't know what that was. Delaware had 2 shots to become bowl eligible, although it's their first season in FBS, so they're in transition. But if they get to 6 wins, they can petition the NCAA, and if there aren't enough bowl spots, they can still get in. But they got to get that 6th win, and they blew it against Sam Houston. That was their shot to do it. I mean, they could do it here. They're a favorite at home on senior night, but I think the pressure is kind of on Delaware now because they want to get that 6th win. It would mean a lot in their first season here. For UTEP, I mean, they're not going anywhere, though. And does UTEP really care? Like, they're having to go all the way to Delaware. UTEP is in El Paso, and now they're going to go all the way to the East Coast, which, by the way, they have not done this year. They have to go to the Eastern time zone for an afternoon game, so I don't really love that for UTEP. And, like, where's their motivation going to come from? I don't know, because this isn't really a rivalry game. Although the money seems to be coming in on UTEP. I think maybe just fading Delaware because Delaware has all the pressure on them to try to get the 6th win. Delaware down from 5 to 4, 83% of tickets on them, 59% of the cash on UTEP. I'm not going to disagree with that, but, I mean, I don't want to touch that game at all. FIU is at Sam Houston, and FIU, they just got their 6th win, and they beat Jacksonville State. That was a huge win, man, because Jacksonville State was undefeated in Conference USA, and they're in a position where they are, you know, they're in a decent position to still make the Conference USA championship game. Jacksonville State is. Florida International, they did just pull off that big win over them. They beat Liberty the week before that, too, so 2 huge wins at home. The Jacksonville State one, I was correct about that, by the way. I gave that out as a lean last week. Maybe I should have made it a play. I don't know. But they got the win. It's their 6th win. That was their senior day. So FIU, they pretty much accomplished their goal, man. They're going to be bowl eligible. They're going to a bowl. This team hasn't been to a bowl, I think, for years. Like, I don't think they've been in a bowl since, like, 2019. So it is big for FIU to be in a bowl, man. So I don't know how much motivation they're going to have to go on the road and beat Sam Houston, though, man. And for Sam Houston, they're not going to a bowl, which is probably disappointing because they actually were in a bowl last year and had a much better season last year. They're coming off an ugly loss to Middle Tennessee, and now they're going to be at home in senior day as an underdog, and this is going to be their last game of the season. You know, they showed some signs of life the last couple weeks. They beat Oregon State. They got the monkey off their back, finally got a win. They beat Delaware in an upset, so they pulled off a couple pretty big upsets. You know, and if you take the points, you don't need them to win the game here. But I would probably take the points with Sam Houston. The money's coming in on FIU, which I don't really understand. They're up to an 11-point favorite, 57% of tickets, 91% of the cash. I mean, it might just be numbers guys who are basically just saying, yeah, Sam Houston sucks, so we're going to lay the points here, and that maybe that number's slightly too low on FIU. But I don't know, man. Again, FIU, I just don't see where the motivation comes from because they will be going to a bowl, so they might already be looking ahead to that. So they don't really have anything to gain by winning this game. So I would take the points with Sam Houston. All right. We have Georgia Southern and Marshall, and I believe These two teams are both sitting at 5 wins, so this is about bowl eligibility. These teams can't make the Sun Belt Championship or anything like that, but I think it matters more to Marshall because Marshall, if you remember last year, they had a good season. They won 10 games, and then their entire team just quit. Their entire team left, and they couldn't even field the team for the bowl, so they had to back out of the bowl. Some other team went in and took who was it? I forget who it was that took their some team came in and took their bowl spot. I forget who it was, but Marshall, this program is supposed to be awful this year because the entire team left and became Southern Miss. They all went to Southern Miss. So this Marshall team was a complete rebuild this year, and they were expected to suck. And now, if they win their final home game, and I believe they're favored, they actually will be bowl eligible, which I think is big for Marshall, man, because of the way that last season ended and the whole team left and bailed. I think this new Marshall team is playing with a chip on their shoulder, man. Yeah, Georgia Southern, I mean, they'd like to get to a bowl again, but I think they've been to bowls the last few years. I know they got embarrassed in their senior day against ODU, Old Dominion, so maybe they will show up for this, but I like Marshall in this one, although the money seems to agree with me, but they're already up to a 10-point favorite when you could have laid 7 earlier. 93% of tickets, 99% of the cash on them. So this looks like a game where it's just professional money just hitting Marshall, man. And I don't disagree with it, but they also are not going to need to win by margin here either. So, but it's a high total of 64, so makes it a little bit easier for a team to cover as a favorite like that. We'll see. Western Kentucky and Jacksonville State. This is kind of a weird scenario. I mean, both of these teams are in the mix for the Conference USA Championship, and so is Kennesaw. So it's going to be some combination of Jacksonville State, Kennesaw State, and Western Kentucky. Kennesaw, I believe there's no scenario where they can host the Conference USA Championship, but they can get into it. Missouri State cannot, and that's only because they are in transition period, so they're not allowed to play in the conference championship, but they are allowed to petition to get into a bowl with 7 wins. So very strange scenario for Missouri State. But for these teams, yeah, Western Kentucky, Jacksonville State here. For Western Kentucky, I mean, they played that game against LSU, and they played pretty tough last week, man. I don't know why they scheduled LSU when they did there, when you got to have figured Western Kentucky was probably going to be in the mix for the Conference USA because they usually are. So why did they schedule LSU? Well, the answer was they got paid a ton of money. That's why. I think like the bigger program, I think, pays the smaller program to play them. So I think LSU paid Western Kentucky a ton of money, and Western Kentucky, that's why they did it. But now they played pretty tough against LSU, or LSU maybe just played poorly and just didn't score a lot. I know Western Kentucky was pretty much out of that game late, though. They were down 10 with like a 2 or less, like in the final 2 minutes of the game. Then they had that fumble return touchdown. But I think they knew the game was out of reach. So I don't know, man. Will they be hung over into this game from that game? I don't really know, because, I mean, they do still need to win this game. Like, I mean, this game matters as far as the CUSA, which is what these two teams are fighting for. Jacksonville State, they did just lose a long win streak, man, losing to FIU. I know that's an ugly loss, but they had won 5 games in a row, and sometimes when a team loses a win streak, they don't play well in the next game. This is at home, though, so it is senior day for them. And I don't know, maybe they have a little bit more motivation here to get this, because I don't know. Who won the CUSA last year? I don't even remember. I don't know if Jacksonville State has won it, because I think they're new to FBS, as of like a few years ago. So they might play with a little bit of an extra chip on their shoulder for that reason. But the money is coming in on Western Kentucky. 57% of tickets on Jacksonville State, 60% of the cash on Western Kentucky, and they're a 2.5-point favorite here right now. I don't know. I worry about Western Kentucky coming off that LSU game, man. So I don't know if I really agree with it. I might lean towards Jacksonville State slightly, but I don't love it at all. Then we do have that Missouri State team, which is an interesting scenario because they're already bowl eligible and they cannot get into the CUSA championship game because, again, they're in transition, so they can't do it. But will they show up anyway because this is senior night? I don't know, man. I mean, this is going to be their first senior night as an FBS team. I believe this is their first year in FBS. So maybe that does matter. But they're coming off a big loss to Kennesaw State, man. I mean, they had a chance to beat one of the better teams in the conference, and they lost. That ended a long win streak for them, so I worry about that. But Louisiana Tech's not in a good spot either, man. They just became bowl eligible again, so they got their 6 wins, and they did it by beating Liberty, which is a huge win. So, yeah, for Louisiana Tech, I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. But Louisiana Tech, I mean, they could be in a little bit of a letdown spot because beating Liberty is a big deal. So this is a tough game to figure out, man, because I don't think Missouri State really has that much to play for. They're down from 3.5 to 2.5. 83% of tickets, 97% of the cash. So it looks like the money kind of is coming back on the Missouri State side, but I don't think I would agree with it. Like, I just don't understand. Like, I mean, it is senior night, yes, and maybe that's enough motivation. I don't know. I mean, to me, it looks like both teams are going to lack motivation, though, because Louisiana Tech, again, they're bowl eligible. They don't really have a rivalry or anything against Missouri State, so what's going to motivate them to show up? And that's what I worry about. Like, if you had Louisiana Tech motivated and Missouri State not motivated, I might maybe want to come in on Louisiana Tech, but as far as it stands right now, I want nothing to do with it. Even though Missouri State looks like a team that you would want to fade, they both are. Nate, what's up? What are we talking about? Dallas? Are you a Dallas fan? I mean, I don't know. I mean, the only thing I'll say about it is that I did say that the Cowboys would make the playoffs before the season starts. So I want to be correct about that, but I'm definitely not a Dallas fan. And the Stars are really fucking pissing me off. That should have been a spot where we got the win. Utah was up 2-0. I mean, you think I wanted to lose that play that I gave out in Utah? Absolutely not. That was a bad spot for Dallas. That's why I did it. We were rolling. We were up 2-0 in that game, and then it all went to hell. And the game was still tied late. Fuck the Dallas Stars. Fuck them. Iowa won. I mean, that is what I predicted. I said Iowa would win and cover. You're a Nebraska fan, though, I believe. Is that right? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. All I know is my opinion in that game was correct. Now, Arkansas State and App State, they're both sitting at 5 wins. But I think this matters more to App State, man. I mean, this is their final home game. It's senior night, but App State, you remember what happened to them last year. They had the hurricane come in, and they had to cancel a game. And that was basically the reason why they didn't make a bowl last year. They wound up with 5 wins, and they didn't get that shot at home against Liberty, and they could have won that game and become bowl eligible. But because of the hurricane and the flooding, they had to cancel it. So I think bowl eligibility matters more to App State here, so I would lean towards them. The money doesn't seem to agree, but 76% of tickets, 98% of the cash on Arkansas State. Arkansas State, I believe, won a bowl last year. So, again, I think it matters more to App State. They're down from 2 to a pick'em. So, if you like App State, you get them at a pick'em. Again, I think it matters more to them. I think there's meaning for App State for that program to get back to a bowl this year. So, that's what I would say there. Down 2, fuck that. I hate when people say that shit, like in soccer and whatever. Because, the team that's up 2 gets complacent. Yeah, whatever. Fuck that. I'm pretty sure I handicapped that game correctly. I'm fucking pissed. No, hell no, I'm not good. I'm not happy about this. 2 fucking losing days in a row, and all my NFL reads are fucking wrong this week. No, I'm not good. What other games do we have left here? What other games am I going to talk about? I mean, a lot of these games are just totally uninteresting. I'm only talking about the ones that have playoff or a conference championship implications. Wake Forest is playing Duke. There is some outside chance that Duke can still get into the ACC championship. I don't exactly know how, but that loss to Virginia made it very, very difficult. They did show up last week, which I didn't really expect, but it was a rivalry game against North Carolina. They got the win. Now this is another rivalry game against Wake, and it is Duke's final home game. And yeah, I know Duke can still get in. I mean, they're in a scenario where they don't control their own destiny, I know, so they need to win, and they need a lot of help. So I actually like that more because the pressure's off of them. But they might just think that realistically they just don't even have a chance. So I don't know, man. And for Wake, I think they'll show up because Wake, I mean, they have a chance to beat both UNC and Duke, and that would be pretty big, I think, for Wake's program because they're always kind of the little brother of those. So I do lean to Wake in this game. Duke's down from 3-1, 62% of the tickets, and then 55% of the cash on Wake, 62% of tickets on Duke, 55% of the cash on Wake. No, I mean, I would lean to Wake in that game, but I do worry that maybe there's a reason that Duke still shows up there. So that's what I worry about there. It's not completely the dream crusher there yet. I mean, you don't have to leave. You can still watch my shit. I'm just pissed and I'm an asshole all the time. And yeah, I also get pissed when people are praising teams that fucking dealt me a loss. The fucking Dallas Stars. I still think my read was correct on that fucking game. What else do we have here? Cincinnati and TCU. Does this game matter? I don't fucking know. For TCU, I mean, they're coming off a big win over Houston last week. That was a big Texas rivalry game, if you want to call it that. Now, TCU, I mean, they're already bowl eligible. They are coming back home for senior day, but I don't know, man. I mean, that win over Houston was pretty big. They basically knocked Houston out of the Big 12 title contention there. Cincinnati's lost 3 in a row, and I kind of think they're going to want to show up to try to get this one, even though they're already bowl eligible too. I think it's more of a letdown spot for TCU. I mean, Cincinnati, they're going to be a little bit pissed, I think, after losing their senior day there, so I don't know, man. I like Cincinnati in this one. TCU's a 3.5-point favorite, 59% of tickets on them, only 53% of the cash. So money seems to agree with Cincinnati. That's the way I would lean. No strong opinion. You're going to the Avalanche tomorrow. That could be like a hangover spot or something. Who do they lose to today? I don't even know. I don't even know what's going on. I'll handicap the game tomorrow, though. Bad weather on Missouri State. No, I mean that's a reason to bet the game. That means you should bet the game over because that means that the total is going to over adjust too low, and slippery turf means that you're saying over as well, I guess, right, Justin? Yeah, I mean slippery turf means that like the defense is not going to be able to like maneuver like with the offense. You know what I mean? Like they're not going to be able to respond to what the offense is doing, if that makes sense. So what's the total in that one? Yeah, it's over adjusted down to 48.5, so I would probably go over in that game. Might be the better way to go in that game because I worry about both teams' motivation in that game. But that also means that both teams might not be motivated to play really strong defense there. So yeah, I do kind of like an over in that one. Although I don't really do anything with totals. The Wild in a shootout. I'd be more tempted to fade the Wild after they did that because I don't think the Wild are that good. Kennesaw State and Liberty. This one, Kennesaw, again, they can make the championship game. I think they need to win and they need help, though. Because I think Kennesaw, to get in, I think they're going to need... I forget what the scenario is. I think they need Western Kentucky to win or something. I don't remember exactly what it is, but I don't think they control their own destiny here. They are having to go to Liberty. This Liberty team is a dead team, though. I mean, Liberty, they were basically the favorite. They were expected to win the Conference USA this year, and they have completely plummeted, and they're not even going to make a bowl either. So, yeah, this is their senior day, but, like, are they really going to be motivated? I don't know. Maybe just because it's their last game, but it's not like they hate Kennesaw State, who's like a newcomer here, so I don't really see them, showing up because it's some sort of rivalry or anything like that. I think the game really only matters to Kennesaw, and that's probably why you see the money coming in on them, but that's also probably why they're a road favorite. 68% of tickets, 93% of the cash on them. I don't disagree with Kennesaw in this one, man. That is probably the way that I would lean in that one. Do I want to play it? Not really. And then, yeah, Missouri State, I see it as having gone from 3.5 to 2.5. You're saying 4.5 to 1.5. I mean, right here, it's, I don't know, consensus 3.5 to 2.5. But yeah, I don't want anything to do with the side in that game. Like, pretty much neither team has anything to play for in that game. To me, it seems that way. Except that Missouri State, I mean, I guess if you want to say, oh, they'll play for senior day in their first season as a FBS team. For Kennesaw to get into Western Kentucky needs to win. I think that's right, but I'm not 100% sure of that. Troy and Southern Miss is a simpler scenario here, where whichever one of these teams wins is going to get into the Sun Belt Championship to face James Madison and probably get destroyed. So yeah, Southern Miss, Troy, they're both sitting at 5-2, and that's because Southern Miss has dropped 2 straight games. So now they have to win this game, which is ridiculous. So, but this is a win and in scenario for both teams. So, I mean, so there isn't like, there is no like pressure on one side, but not on the other. So this comes down to which team is the better team. I do believe it is Southern Miss. They're also at home here, and it is their senior night, if you think that matters a little bit as well. Troy, I mean, they got an easy win last week against Georgia State. Now they're going out on the road. I don't think any of that really matters that much, but I think I would lean to Southern Miss in this one because they are the better team. The money seems to agree. They're at 6.5. They might hit 7 here. So if you like them, I would try to get the 6.5. 68% of tickets, 88% of the cash on them. So the money seems to agree with that. Yeah, I think they're the better team, and it's time that they bear down, man. Buckle down and do it because they're coming off 2 pretty ugly losses. Although we know Texas State is a lot better than their record would indicate. Florida State, Florida is a big game, huge rivalry game. 4:30 p.m. on ESPN2. Florida, they can't become bowl eligible, so will they show up here? Maybe, because it is their senior day. It is against Florida State, but I think the game means more to Florida State because we know they had that horrible season last year and they did not make a bowl. And if Florida State gets a win here, they will be bowl eligible. So I think that actually does matter to them. Whereas Florida, this is just Florida's last game, man, and that's all there is to it. They're not making a bowl. Florida State could, so I think maybe there is a little bit extra motivation on the Florida State side, but maybe that means you're paying a little bit too much of a price, although in this situation, it's really just pick the winner. Florida down from 2 to pick them, and Florida State, that is what their motivation is going to be, to win. They're not going to need to win by margin here to get you that win on the bet. 54% of tickets, 58% of the cash on Florida. I would lean to Florida State in that one. I think becoming bowl eligible does matter to them. Oregon State, Washington State. This is the Pac-2 rivalry where these two teams play twice, and Washington State already lost at Oregon State earlier this year, which was ugly. I got the game right. Oregon State was a 3.5-point underdog, and I didn't give it out as a play, but that was a lean for me. Now, Washington State, they played tough last week against JMU, man. James Madison, 15.5-point underdogs, and Washington State played well. Washington State is making a habit of doing this, man. They've gone into the Eastern time zone twice. Well, they've gone east, if you want to say, 3 times to Ole Miss, Virginia, and JMU, and they played competitively every time as a double-digit dog and barely lost every one of those games. Now they're coming back. Maybe they're going to be motivated still because they do need a 6th win to become bowl eligible. That's the only thing that I see as far as Washington State here because that's a tough loss to take, man, against JMU. Now they're flying all the way back across the country. They're playing an Oregon State team that they already beat on the road. Or no, excuse me, they lost. What am I saying? My apologies. They lost on the road. So I guess there is a little bit more motivation maybe on Washington State's side if they want to get that revenge win, but it's still a very difficult travel spot. And coming off again, playing a really close game as a big underdog, I don't love that. And for Oregon State, they're coming off some losses here. I know this is going to be Washington State's final home game. I know they're looking for revenge, potentially trying to become bowl eligible, but Washington State is also laying way too many points here. If you look at the number in this game, they're laying 13.5 in this game. How is that even possible? What did the personnel change? I don't understand. They were 3.5 on the road at Oregon State, which would basically indicate they should probably be maybe 10.5 at most in this game if you really give both teams a lot of home field advantage. 13.5 seems way too high, especially with a low total of 43.5. 62% of tickets, 72% of the cash on Washington State. So I think I would take the points with Oregon State there. Maryland and Michigan State, I see kind of an angle here. I would probably fade Michigan State because they were a big 17.5-point underdog against Iowa last week, and they played Iowa to the limit, man. That was a big game for Michigan State, and they fell just short. I don't know what they're going to have left in the tank here against Maryland. This game will be in Michigan, not at Michigan State's campus, though. It's going to be in Detroit. I don't know if their fans are really going to show up for it because it's been a lost season for them. It's been a bad season for both teams. Neither team is going to go to a bowl. Maryland did lose in more of a blowout fashion last week to Michigan. So, yeah, even though the game is a semi-home game for Michigan State, I think Michigan State kind of went all out in that game against Iowa. So I don't think they're going to have much left. I would take the points with Maryland. Michigan State down from 4.5 to 4. 51% of tickets on them. 67% of the cash coming in on the Maryland side. I would take the points with Maryland in that game. Rice and South Florida. South Florida, I don't know if they can make the American title game or not at this point. Because I believe Navy and now North Texas both already won. So that might eliminate South Florida now. So now South Florida might not really have a whole lot to play for anymore now. And Rice is playing to become bowl eligible, man, which I think would be pretty big for them. So I would probably look towards Rice in this one. South Florida is a 28-point favorite. So you're getting a lot of points with Rice if you do like it. 91% of tickets, 97% of the cash on South Florida. So money looks like it's coming in on South Florida for now, but I would probably take the points with Rice. At least they're going to attempt to become bowl eligible there. Northwestern and Illinois, this is a rivalry between two sort of Chicago area teams. These teams don't like each other. Northwestern is already bowl eligible, though. They got bowl eligible last week, so that's pretty big for them because I think they missed out on the bowls last year, if I remember correctly. So maybe they kind of accomplished their goal now. Maybe they don't care as much, even though I do think they consider themselves to be the little brother to Illinois. So that is what I worry about them. Maybe they will still show up for that reason. But for Illinois, they're coming off an ugly loss at Wisconsin. Illinois were 8.5-point favorites, and they lost to this very bad, or at least struggling Wisconsin team that just can't score. Very ugly loss for Illinois. Now this is senior day for them, so I do think they're going to want to bounce back from that ugly loss, even though they're not going anywhere this year. Money is saying Northwestern, though. Illinois down from 7 to 6.5, 69% of tickets on them, 61% of the cash on Northwestern. It is a low total, so I can see that argument and the argument that Northwestern is the little brother and will still want to show up there. But I don't know. The spot, based on what happened last week, kind of points me towards Illinois, so it's a difficult read in that game. Don't want anything to do with it, though. All right, and then we have North Carolina and NC State. I mean, this is a rivalry game as well. NC State's coming off a pretty nice win over Florida State, though. So, I don't know, man. I mean, North Carolina might want this game a little bit more. NC State, they're already bowl eligible. North Carolina is not going to a bowl. North Carolina, they already lost to the other two North Carolina schools, so maybe they will show up with some intensity here in the final game to try to beat one of their in-state rivals in NC State. NC State's 7-point favorite, 73% of tickets on them, but 55% of the cash on UNC. 48.5 is the total, so it's another low total. I agree with the money in that one. I would take the points with North Carolina. Again, NC State, they became bowl eligible, though. I don't know how much they really care about that because they're in a bowl almost every year, but they did do it, and they did it against Florida State. So, now, UNLV and Nevada, I was looking at this and thinking that UNLV can't make the Mountain West title game anymore because New Mexico got us a win today against San Diego State. And Boise State is there. And if you look at UNLV, they already lost to Boise and New Mexico. Boise somehow escaped with a win today, although Utah State still covered, so I was correct about the cover there. And I'm pissed that I didn't put it in my pick 6 and pick 7 because I almost put Utah State in. For Mountain West, for UNLV, I mean, it looks like they can't make the Mountain West title game anymore, but apparently that's not true. Because I guess for a tiebreaker, they use like computer metrics, which is ridiculous. So I believe San Diego State is in, and then between Boise, New Mexico, and UNLV, it's going to come down to I think it's going to come down to, UNLV has to win this game at Nevada, but I think if they do, it's going to come down to computer metrics, which is totally bizarre. Now for Nevada, I think they are going to show up one last time here because these two teams do not like each other. This is a rivalry, and Nevada did not win the game last year. UNLV did. UNLV's been the better team the last couple of years, so Nevada probably doesn't like this role reversal where for a long time, they were the better of the two teams, and now UNLV is almost the bigger brother now in the state of Nevada. So I think Nevada will show up for it. They've won 2 games in a row, which is a good sign that they're starting to play a little bit better, and they're going to be in their senior night here. But for UNLV, I was going to potentially give out Nevada if UNLV was eliminated from Mountain West contention, but they're not. And they're in a situation where they're not controlling their own destiny, so they might still come in and play loose here and play well. So I don't quite want to do it, but I would lean to Nevada plus the points. UNLV's at 7.5, 70% of tickets on them, 53% of the cash on Nevada. So the money coming in on the Nevada side, I don't disagree with that. And then Fresno at San Jose State. Fresno, they're eliminated. They cannot get into the Mountain West Championship game. So they're already bowl eligible, so they don't really have a whole lot to play for here, man. They're going to San Jose State. San Jose State is not going to make a bowl this year, and this is going to be their senior day and their last game. And they were better against San Diego State, as I pointed out earlier today, than what that score looked like. San Jose State actually outgained San Diego State in that game, so I think San Jose State will show up for senior day. They've only scored 13 points in the last 2 games, which is just embarrassing. So again, Fresno, they're already in a bowl, so they don't really have a whole lot of motivation here, I don't think. They're up to a 3.5-point favorite as well, and they're public. 90% of tickets, only 87% of the cash. The public sees the records, and they just want to lay the points with the team with the better record, but I would take the points with San Jose State. The total's fairly low at 47.5 as well. Now it is best bets time. I know I give it a strong lean on Virginia Tech. Oh, and I do have one other lean that I like. Hold on. Before I get to best bets, this one, the money is just disagreeing with me too strong, man. I just don't think I could do it, but I don't know how I skipped over it. Where is this game? Yeah, it's BC and Syracuse. And yes, by the way, I think I ran Nate out of the building. I apologize, man. I'm definitely a dick. I apologize, but I get super frustrated about the losses that I take on the show. So, or just in general, the losses that I take. So, yeah. Oh, you're still there. Thank you, Nate. I've yelled at Nate before too over Deflategate. So I'm very much a dick. I apologize. Yeah, I just get really, really frustrated, man. I'm stubborn. I want to be right. That's really the whole thing. Yeah, UNLV, they are not my favorite. I don't want to say I've been proven right, but, I think maybe I kind of have. I still don't think they're very good. But Boise State, they just fell off because they lost their quarterback, whatever. All right, yeah. Thank you, sir. BC and Syracuse, this game... To me, this game looks like Syracuse has to be the right side here. I know how ass Syracuse has been, and I know that the fact they have 3 wins and BC only has 1, it almost looks too easy to take the points with Syracuse, which kind of has me hesitating. Like, why is BC the favorite here? But look at what BC did last week, dude. BC almost beat Georgia Tech. Like, this was BC's senior day. I did say I leaned to taking the points with BC, and they had Georgia Tech completely on the ropes, dude. BC was winning this game 28-20 in the fourth, actually 28-17 going into the fourth quarter, and they blew the game. And BC had retaken the lead with 4 minutes left with Turbo Richard, by the way. Turbo Dick got them their touchdown that gave them the lead with 4 minutes left. Great name, by the way. And they went for the 2-point conversion to go up 3 and failed. And if they had done that, then the game would have gone into overtime. But instead, Georgia Tech won with a field goal. That would have been a massive win for BC, man. So I just don't see how BC gets back up off the mat after that and goes and plays at Syracuse. I just don't see it. And Syracuse just lost to Notre Dame 70-7. You lose 70-7 to anybody. I know Notre Dame's good, and Syracuse is really bad, and they've been awful without Angeli, however you pronounce the quarterback's name. I know he's gone. He's hurt. But 70-7, I mean, you got to bounce back from that in some way, man. I mean, no team is as bad as they look in their worst game, and that game could not have been any worse. 70-7 is insane. And if you look at the box score, the stats weren't as bad. I mean, Notre Dame outgained Syracuse by close to 200 yards, but Syracuse had 3 turnovers. 70-7 is crazy. And the craziest thing is Syracuse outpossessed Notre Dame basically 42 minutes to 18. I mean, that's insane. I mean, it's one of the craziest box scores I've ever seen, but I think Syracuse is going to be really embarrassed off of that performance, man. So I like Syracuse in this game, plus the points. So the money is disagreeing with me. 59% of tickets, 78% of the cash on BC. I mean, the only concern, I think, is that Syracuse has just been so bad with their with this quarterback scenario that they've had here. They haven't shown the ability to win. And if you take them +3, you're pretty much going to need them to win the game. But BC has been really bad too. So I don't know. I would take the points with Syracuse. That one's close to a play for me. I just don't see how BC has anything left after what they did last week. I mean, I'm very tempted to give that out as a play, actually. I don't know. I kind of want to do it, but the market read is kind of disagreeing with me. You know what? Let's see what it looks like tomorrow morning, and we'll see if I want to do it. Let's get to the best bets. Oh, thank you, sir. A Toad Mega fan. All right. Hell yeah. Let's get to the best bets, and hopefully my read on these games is correct, man. Because I've really tried to narrow this thing down, and one of them, we're going right back to our abuser from last week. They hurt us last week, and hopefully they don't hurt us again. We're going to lay the 2.5 with Baylor. This is against Houston. The public is not going to want to do this, obviously. I mean, the public's going to see Houston was just ranked for a while. They're 8-3, and Baylor's 5-6. Why would you lay points with Baylor, right? Like, that's, I think, what the public sentiment is going to be. But again, the odds makers are telling you that Houston is only the slightly better team. And I don't think the spot is good for Houston because Houston is basically in the dream crusher now. I mean, Houston, the fact that they just lost on their senior day against TCU last week, that officially eliminated Houston from potentially being in the Big 12 title game because that gave them their third loss. And third loss, I mean, they're definitely not going to be going to the playoff or anything like that either. Even though I don't know if they could have gone to the playoff if they won the Big 12. So that was pretty much the dream crusher game, man. And now they got to turn around again, go out on the road and play Baylor. And I just don't see what they have. Like, what reason do they have to play now? I mean, they're already going to be in a bowl. It'll be an all right bowl, whatever it is. They can't get to the Big 12 title game anymore. So they just don't really have anything to play for as far as I can see. Whereas Baylor, they still do. I mean, they still want that 6th win, I think, to become bowl eligible at the very least. This will be senior day now. I mean, Baylor, I don't know what happened in that game last week. Remember, Baylor was winning that game 17-14. And I'm thinking, all right, Baylor's going to cover for us here. That was at halftime. And then all of a sudden, like, it was like the worst second half they could possibly have. But statistically, the game was really close. I don't know what happened in this game. Arizona only outgained them by 12 yards. Baylor outpossessed them, and the first downs were close. Baylor was -2 in turnovers. What happened in this game? I didn't watch it. I don't know. There was a pick 6 at the end of the game. Yeah, I just don't get it, man. I don't think my read was wrong on that. I think Baylor deserved better than what that final score was. I like Baylor here. I think they're the only team that has really a real reason to show up in this one. The only thing that I could really see is that you could argue that Houston considers themselves to be a little brother in Texas, and they're going to want to go beat Baylor. But I don't know, man. I'm not sure that I see it. I think Baylor's got the motivation on their side. I like Baylor in that game. And looking at the market read, Houston is a public underdog, and you know I warn about public underdogs. 68% of tickets on them, only 65% of the cash. Baylor sitting at a nice 2.5 price here. You might have to lay a little bit of juice on the 2.5, but even up to -115, I would probably do that rather than lay the 3, just so you're on the right side of that key number. I think it's worth paying maybe that just up to the -115 juice on that, although I don't know exactly like how much each half point should be worth, and some of it depends on the total, and this is a high total at 57, so each point is worth a little bit less in that case. It's going to make it, the high total makes it a little bit easier for the for a team to cover right now. The one thing I guess that you could worry about is that Houston is the better defense. So Houston does fall into the better defense getting points. But again, I just don't see them being motivated here. I think Baylor should be able to get that offense going here in this one. So that's the way that I'm leaning, or that's the play that I'm giving out there. And then the other one is going to be Auburn plus the points at 5.5. We're going back to both of our abusers here, man. Both of these teams have been awful to us this year. Auburn has been awful to me for multiple years, but the public's going to be all on Alabama, man. This looks like such a small price to lay with a top 10 ranked Alabama team against an Auburn team that's below 500. It looks so easy to lay the points. It basically looks like a trap. 83% of tickets, 87% of the cash on Alabama. They're going to be public. The total here is low at 46.5, so taking the points. I like taking the points with the low total. I would not disagree with an under in this game as well, because I think you're going to see good defense here, man. Auburn, they do play good defense. Their offense has really been their problem. And Alabama, this is a huge game, man. This is the Iron Bowl. In Alabama, it's going to be a really hostile environment here in a huge rivalry game where these teams hate each other. And it's going to be, Simpson having to go out on the road here for Alabama. And I know he's been good this year for them for sure, but I don't know, man. As a true freshman, is he going to come in and be able to handle this situation? I mean, maybe he did handle the Georgia situation, but I don't know if I like this, man. For Alabama, they're ranked 10th, but yeah, that still qualifies as the top 10. For Alabama, I am pretty sure they control their own destiny at this point. So that's a situation I do not like. I like to fade teams in that spot because you're going to be getting value fading them because the odds makers know that too. So I'm pretty sure with the fact that A&M lost here and the fact that Alabama has the tiebreaker over Georgia, I believe Alabama, if they win, they're going to be in the SEC championship game. All they have to do is beat Auburn. So it's like, it seems so easy. All we got to do is beat Auburn, right? That's the whole thing. I don't know, man. I don't know. And yeah, Alabama, I mean, they can't really afford a third loss. I wouldn't say if they take a third loss, it's going to be dicey for them to make the playoff. But of course, Auburn's going to be motivated for even just for that reason alone. They get to spoil their hated rival season at home on senior day. I think Auburn's going to show up for that reason. But Alabama has not been good at covering on the road, man. I mean, look at their road games. They had an outright 14-point loss at Florida State. They won by 3 at Georgia, by 3 at Missouri, which was a push for us, by 7 at South Carolina, which was a win for us there. And then, and that's it, I think, right? That's all their road games. So they have not won any road game by more than a single score. And 3 of their 4 road games, they were not able to cover this number. So they have not covered by margin on the road, man. And Auburn, as I've been saying all year, I think they're flying totally under the radar here. They've faced a really difficult schedule, and they've come up just short in a lot of games, man. I mean, look at these games. They lost by 7. I think they lost the cover against OU, right against Oklahoma on the road, right at the end on a safety, I think. So they were going to lose that game by 5. Instead, they lost by 7. They only lost at Texas A&M by 6, even though I know Texas A&M did destroy them statistically, but still. Auburn, that defense coming through again. They only lost by 10 at Georgia, and I'm still pissed, at home against Georgia. I'm still pissed about that. I think that should have been a cover. That was a loss for us with Auburn there. I think they should have covered that number. Because that was the game where the refs just handed the game to Georgia, basically, and Auburn had that touchdown taken off the board and whatever. That pissed me off. They only lost by 6 to Missouri, so again, another close game. That was at home, and then, they lost by 7 to Kentucky. I know that was a really ugly one, and Auburn fired their coach because of it. They should have won that one. They were a huge favorite at home, and that eliminated me in Survivor. So Auburn keeps abusing me, I know. And then they did bounce back pretty nicely, though, in the fired coach spot, which should have been a cover yet again. We were on Auburn again. So, dude, Auburn has eliminated me from Survivor, and I know I'm 0-3 in giving out Auburn as a play, or maybe 0-4 even. I don't know if I had them in that OU game or not. Maybe I don't think I did, but I gave them out against Georgia, Missouri, I believe, and Vandy. So we're 0-3 against them, or we're 0-3 in giving out plays on them. I know, I get it, but the losses were basically all bullshit. This game went into overtime. I mean, Auburn did enough to cover this number. I don't know how they blew it, man. They were winning a long, they were winning for a long stretch of this game. They sent the game into overtime. I mean, they should have covered that. All that aside, though, I think Auburn's going to show up here. Not only because this is the Iron Bowl, it's a huge game, it's at home. They want nothing more than to beat their hated rival, and I think it's been a while since they've been able to do that, and they could spoil their season by doing it. The other thing is Auburn did not make a bowl last year, and if they win this game, they'll be bowl eligible, so I think that matters to them, so I think they're going to show up for that reason too. I like Auburn, plus the points here, man. It looks way too easy for Alabama, and their scenario, like in their mind, is going to be way too easy. All we got to do is win, and we're in. I think Auburn has a very good chance to win this game outright. So that's the other play there, man. It's just those two. What's up, guys? Saab, what's up, man? I'm going through the chat here before I leave. Shorter video for once because we had a lot of games today. So I don't mind that at least. And then we'll be back for championship week next week. Saab, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. My hat. Boring Bets, what's up, man? No, this is a Boston College Eagles hat. Right here, baby. BC Eagles, because they're so great, baby, at every sport. This is my BC hat. I like how it fits me backwards, though. It's a little bit small, but it fits my head snugly, and it's got like an elastic headband, so it fits like it fits to my head like perfectly, man. I don't know. I like it for that reason. Thank you. I've been putting in work, but I mean, it's been a good last couple of months, but the last couple of days have been not great. We had a slight loss today, but thank you, sir. You like Kennesaw State? I agree with that. Wisconsin, I don't even think I talked about the Wisconsin game. I don't even know if I agree with that or not. I agree with Southern Miss. I agree with UCLA. I agree with UCF. UTSA, I didn't talk about UTSA, Kentucky. I do agree with Maryland. I did mention that. Though the other two I might agree. Oh no, I did talk about Kentucky. I agree with that as well. UTSA, I don't know. I mean, I could look real. What game is that again? They're at home, so usually they're a team you do want to look for at home. Money seems like it's coming in that way. I mean, I probably would agree with that. I don't have a strong opinion on that one really, though. Some of the other ones are stronger for me. Like Maryland is a stronger opinion for me. I think out of that list, Maryland is the strongest opinion for me. Kennesaw, I agree with because I just don't see their opponent having any motivation. Let me see. Who's Kennesaw up against again? Yeah, Liberty. I think Liberty's a dead team, but I mean, the only worry is that they show up for senior night. But yeah, I agree with Kennesaw otherwise. And then the other one that I didn't really talk about was Wisconsin. They're playing Minnesota, right? Yeah, the money's coming in on Wisconsin. I don't know if I love that, but Minnesota, they don't really have a whole lot to play for because they're already bowl eligible. So Wisconsin is not going bowling, so there is that at least. And I believe they lost to Minnesota last year, if I'm not mistaken. I forget, though. But Wisconsin's coming off a big upset win over Illinois in their senior night, man. So I worry about the letdown spot for Wisconsin here, man. That is my concern with Wisconsin in that one. But Minnesota, I mean, I don't know how much reason they're going to have for showing up because they are already bowl eligible. So, well, what about the last two games? I mean, they played like Northwestern in the last game. Why does that really matter? Northwestern sucks. I don't see, I think the fact that Wisconsin just pulled off a pretty big home upset over Illinois, I think puts them in a potential letdown spot, in my opinion. I still agree with Wisconsin in this game, but it's not strong for me. Yeah, BC. Yes, sir. All right. That's going to do it, man. So we went 2-1 today. So I'm not mad about that. That was all right. We lost with Mississippi State, but we turned it around. We got the win with New Mexico, and we got the win with Texas, beating the undefeated Texas A&M. Oh, my God. The plays tomorrow, Baylor -2.5, Auburn +5.5. We're keeping it very selective. Hopefully we can get it done, man. I'll rant about what happened today, tomorrow morning, and hopefully the rest of the board is not big tomorrow because it's going to be a lot of college basketball at the very least that I'm going to have to break down. So I'll be back in the morning. We're going to have something in college basketball probably, and then hopefully there's not a ton of hockey because all the hockey teams played today. So usually Saturday is fairly loaded for hockey, but hopefully it's not tomorrow. And then I know there'll be some NBA, but hopefully it's light. They blew a 28-7 lead. I don't know if I care that much about that, though. Against Northwestern, I'm not really sure I care about that. You're up 7.14 units on the month and 2.4. Are you talking about me or you? I should switch my tracking to the number of units on Action Network, but I tried to do that and it like fucked it all up. Like it didn't get it right. Like because I do it with like. I track it with money, or used to actually be the money that I would bet, but now, I don't have enough liquid funds to bankroll this right now, but I would track it like based on that. So every one of my bets is like, 300 basically here. And that's how I'm tracking it on an Action Network. I try to switch it to say, all right, let's just convert all of this to my unit size, unit. And my unit size is 100, and I'm betting 3 units on everything. That's what I tried to do, and it fucked it all up. It, divided it by 100 or whatever. I'm like, or no, it didn't divide it by 100. So it was saying I was betting 300 units on everything. And I'm like, no, I'm betting 3 units on it. So I couldn't get it to work correctly, so I don't know. Oh, you're following me on Action? Thank you, sir. Wait, is that you? I only have 1 follower. Is that you? Oh, shit, that is you. Hell yeah. Oh, thank you, sir. Yeah, I mean, I'm not verified or anything on there. And sometimes I'll put a placeholder bet in just, oh, that's you. All right, we follow each other. You're the only person I follow, I think, and you're my only follower. Hey, we're mutuals on there. All right, hell yeah. Oh, yeah, I don't know why I didn't realize that. Hell yeah. Well, thank you for following me, man. Yeah, I mean, if you're watching me there, I mean, everything is confirmed, because I give out all my plays on this show beforehand, so that can be your confirmation. But, sometimes I'll put in a placeholder where it's a game like Texas today. I threw the 2.5 in there just so I didn't forget about it. I threw it in there just as a pick to track it. But I said, this morning, I was like, you're going to get a 3 on this most likely. So I had to switch it to a 3 in there. But, yeah, other than that, you know what I mean? So I use it for placeholding. But everything, that becomes final should be accurate as far as literally everything I give out here should match exactly that. And I'm on Instagram as well with the same plays. You and I were doing the opposite things. Holy crap. That's crazy. What are we, just betting the opposites of each other? I don't know, man. But yeah, I mean, hell yeah. Thanks for hanging out. Oh, hell yeah. Thanks for hanging out, man. But yeah, so you know where I stand. And if you watch my show, you'll see my reasoning on all these plays here. So that's going to do it for now. I'll be back in the morning with all these other sports. Like I said, Learn Its Own on Instagram, Learn Its Own on Twitter. You can check me out there. Subscribe to the channel here. Let's get me some more viewers here. Give me some good comments. Yeah, thank you guys. Again, Nate, I apologize for getting all heated and being a dick about losing my play on Utah today. I just get really pissed, man, on the Utah Mammoth, I mean. Shit, man. I'm also on audio. You can give me a good review on there, and that helps me out, and listening helps me out there, too. That's Spotify and iTunes or Apple there, so that helps me out. I have a ukulele channel as well because I do that still. I've put up a couple covers recently, covered in uke on YouTube, and then we have patreon.com/learntotone. You get a ukulele Spotify feed over there and requests that I still have to pay attention to. So yeah, we'll yeah, that's all. That's all the plugs, man. I don't know. I'm out of it. It's too late right now. I'm trying to read the comments too. Oh, thank you, Nate. Thank you, sir. They're 5-1 when they've been down 2. Yeah. I don't want to think about it, man. Oh, and they were in the dead dad spot too. Oh my God. No, I talked about the dad trips being motivating, but Keller on Utah's father died. Did he play? Because that's usually a big motivator. like not only just the player, but maybe the team will play. You remember the famous one was Brett Favre, like having one of his career days, like right after his father died. He was like, no, I want to play. And he got out there and just slung it and had a huge game, which I think was against the Raiders, but I don't remember. Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you, guys. Yeah, I'll catch you in the morning. Yeah, he played. So that should have been another part of the handicap. I didn't even realize that, but yeah. Keller, I should get a jersey. I want to get a Mammoth jersey with the Mammoth logo on it, man, because people make fun of it, but I actually kind of like it. I think it's funny and cool, and I don't know. I mean, it kind of sounds badass. It sounds like Mastodon, one of my bands that I like. Mammoth sounds, I don't know. It sounds powerful. So I like it, and people are making fun of their mascot, but I still like it. I want to get one, man. Maybe I will. One of my knockoff Chinese wholesale jerseys. I'll get a Keller one. I'll look into it. That's going to do it. I appreciate it, guys. I'll be back in the morning, and peace for now.